Welcome to the Vault Archons. This is the Keeper of Keys, Kraz, and I'm here to introduce you to another Archon. This is the Mister of Voortcourse. So let's check this one out and see what we've got. So this actually has one of those cards in it that I really like, just because it's really the only card that has this mechanic, and that is the Vault Keeper. This card is the only one that actually makes your amber unstealable, which is really nice, just because it's such a rare ability. I like the card because of that fact. I don't know if it's going to really make this deck powerful or not, but it's a nice card to have just because of the uniqueness of it. There's nothing else that shares a mechanic like that in all of Keyforge, as far as I know. I do not believe there's any other card that prevents stealing. So let's take a look. Speaking of stealing, we're going to start with the Urchin. Now the Urchin is a nice little card. It's not exceptionally powerful, but it really does something you want, which is it steals. So this is a steal 1 strength card. When you play it, it's always going to happen. It has elusive. So it's going to be, your opponent's going to have to attack it twice to get rid of it, or use some damage ability or a wipe to get it off the board. After that, you have Umbra. This is a fight, steal, skirmish, 2 strength creature. I do like this one. It's nice to have cards with steal mechanics because of the amber swing that they cause. So nice card to have. And it's going to be a little bit harder for them to clear off the board. After that, we have Naughty the Thief. Another elusive creature, but this one doesn't have to fight. It's an action steal card. In my opinion, this is better because if your opponent has no creatures on the board, you can still use the steal effect on this. The other one is generally usable most of the time, but I think this one is just a slightly better card. After that, we have the Nexus. This is a nice card to have. It's a 3 strength elusive. They have to attack it twice to get rid of it. And the reap effect of this is really nice because you get to use their artifact, which means you then prevent them from being able to use it on their turn. And you can use their artifacts and get interesting effects. It's going to stop them from playing cards that have effects that destroy the artifact itself until they get rid of Nexus. After that, we have the Moon Cursor. This is a nice card because it has elusive and poison, or sorry, skirmish and poison. Now, it is attackable by your opponent, and you can guarantee they are going to clear this as soon as they can. The poison is really nasty. The fight effect is a steal 1. Odds are this is not going to survive the fight to get the steal. So overall, the steal effect is kind of on the card, but very rarely are you actually going to see... Oh, sorry, skirmish is the one where you attack and your card survives. So you will see this one. I have to correct myself on that. The fight steal 1 is fantastic on this card because you will get it because of the skirmish, and the poison's then going to kill whatever you attacked. If this stays on the board, you are going to kill things with it. You are going to steal. Your opponent is going to target this thing very early on and get rid of it as fast as they can. After that, you have Carlo Phantom. This is an elusive and a skirmish, which means he can attack and he can defend without taking any damage on the first attack or first defense, which is great to have. And each time you play an artifact, you're gonna steal 1. So if there's a decent number of artifacts in this deck, if he's on the board, he's fantastic to have. Not very strong though, so he's going to be easier for your opponents to clear. Now this is a great card to see in this deck. I love seeing Speed Sigil in Shadows because this really works well with all your fight and reap and all because Shadows creatures usually have a lot of abilities and a lot of steal and a lot of stuff like that attached to them, but they're weaker. So your opponent's going to clear them quickly. Well, this actually lets you play a Shadows card, get it out there, and really do some damage on your opponent rapidly, and you don't lose your creature before you get to use its effects. So I really like Speed Sigil. Treasure Map, this is an incredible first turn play card. If you have not played any other cards this turn, gain 3. For the remainder of the turn, you can't play cards. If you have this on the first turn, 4 amber. If you have a turn where you need a bunch of amber and you don't have a lot of Shadows cards to play Treasure Map, 4 amber. It is a huge amber gain card, really nice to have. I like this card. After that, you have Pawn Sacrifice. Because there's so many weak creatures in here, and if you know your opponent's going to be wiping them off, and you don't think your creatures are going to make it through, Pawn Sacrifice can be used to get rid of a few of their creatures that are 3 strength or lower. So it's a good card, and you're going to gain an amber in the process. So I like this one. Now, there's 2 of these in here. I would actually, I do like this card, because if you have both of them in your hand, that's what, 12 damage? It's fantastic. You can clear anything with that. Ghostly Hands, this is a great card to have. You get 2 amber. If your opponent has 1 exactly, you steal it. If you can somehow manipulate their amber to that point. Now, I don't see, there is quite a bit of steal, but there's not a lot of play steal. So with the Speed Sigil and some of your cards, you could kind of line this card up. Nice card to have. I really like it. You're getting amber either way. Oh, I love seeing this anytime I see Shadows. Bait and Switch. This is such a fantastic card. The Shadows house in this is just really nice. I like the way this Shadow house has turned out. After getting to look at it, tremendous amount of amber in it, powerful creatures, lots of steal mechanics, and the Speed Sigil just makes it all that much better. So now we're going to look at Sanctum. And of course, the first card I wanted to look at in Sanctum just happens to be the top one. The Vault Keeper. This guy is great. He is the only card in Keyforge that prevents your opponent from stealing your amber. Because stealing is such a strong mechanic, this card, if they have steal, they are going to do everything they can to clear this guy off the board. So hopefully there's some good, strong, powerful taunt cards in here that can protect this guy, or something else that can keep this guy on the board, because otherwise he's going to be cleared off pretty rapidly if they have steal. But I still love the card. So after that, we have the Gatekeeper. This is a great card to stop them from forging a key if they have 7 or more amber. It is just a capture, so it's not permanent. But still, he's a strong 5/1, and he is just a good card to have in here. I like having him. So the Staunch Knight, this is a nice one, because when he's on the flank, he's a 6/2. Very powerful creature, very few things he can't kill. Great card to have in here. I really like having the Staunch Knight. And there's 2 of them. Very, very good. This is a big threat on the board. 3 Staunch Knights. Wow. That is a gigantic threat that you are dropping on the board when you drop the Staunch Knight. After that, we have Sequius. He's got a Reap Capture 1. This is a great card. He's a 4/2, yet another powerful creature. The creature board in this deck is already looking quite powerful and can be a huge problem for your opponent. After that, we have Numquib the Fair, which is just a fantastic board clear. If you don't have a big board and they do, you play this, you wipe their board essentially, except for 1 creature. And you're getting to choose the creature you kill. And so that makes this card really, really, really good, just for wiping your opponent's board. And then it leaves you at the 3 strength creature versus whatever they have left. Now, not as good when you have a huge board. Now, this Sanctum board is gigantic. This is 8 creatures so far. Lady Maxina, great card. Disables one of your opponent's cards. It's a 5/2, 5 strength, 2 armor. This thing is going to be hard to clear for your opponent. And the fact that you're stunning almost certainly their most dangerous creature, or something that you're really worried about, And then you can remove her every turn and play her back down. So it's like every turn you play Sanctum, you've got a stun if you want to pull her back off the board. Great card to have. Terms of Redress, with all of these powerful Sanctum creatures, I really like seeing Terms of Redress in here. This is a key stopper, and you're going to get an Amber for it because you're going to capture 2. Fantastic card. Radiant Truth. This is a great card to have because this is going to stun each enemy creature not on a flank, which is good. Now, of course, their flanks are still going to be left unstunned, so if they have a large board, good card to play. If they have a small board, you're going to get 1 Amber off of this, and you're not going to get pretty much anything else. So, still a great card. Nice to have. There's 2 of them in here. So if they have a big board, great thing. Now, Glorious Few. This is one of those cards I think is somewhat underestimated, at least for now. I think people are going to realize the power of this card later. If you don't have a big board, and your opponent does, and you play Glorious Few, you are going to gain a ton of Amber. I've already done it in a game, and it made the difference in the game. They had a huge board, they had a large creature deck, and they thought they had the game in the bag, played Glorious Few, played a few other cards, stopped them from forging their key. They had no way to stop me, and the game was over thanks to this card. I really like Glorious Few. Okay, so now we're going to move on to House Dis. We've got the Flame Wreath. You're going to gain an you're going to gain an Amber from this, which is fantastic. And your creature is going to gain 2 power and hazardous. With a lot of these creatures in here, this is just going to be a nasty card for your opponent to have to deal with. It's going to make a lot of these creatures just that much worse. Fantastic card. The hazardous means they're going to take 2 damage before they attack you. On some of the bigger Sanctum creatures, this is going to make it to where anything attacking them is going to die. If you throw this on, say, for example, the Vault Keeper, fantastic. This is going to make him a Strength 6, which I would really like to see. It'd be a Strength 6 with 1 armor. Unfortunately, Sanctum did not have any taunt cards in it, so that's a disappointment there. But now we're going to move on to the Terror. If your opponent has no Amber, gain 2. This is a great first turn play card. You play it on your first turn, you gain 2 Amber. Great to see. Nice card. I do like it. Strength 5. And then you have Schuler. Not a lot of steel, yet another card in here that has steel mechanics. Great to see. Strength 5 creature. Your opponent has 4 more Amber, you steal 1. I like Schuler. There are 2 Schulers in here, which is nice. And then after that, we have an Ember Imp. This is a really good card. Your opponent, like many other cards in this deck, this is another one your opponent's really going to want to clear. And there's so many of them in here, your opponent may have trouble figuring out what to clear first. Because this is gonna shut down their card playing. So this is a really nice card to have. Kind of weak, so it's going to be easy for them to clear off. Now this is I believe the first board, or the second board clear, because we had Numquib the Fair. So the 3 Fates, this is a small board clear. If you're facing somebody who has really powerful, say, Brobnar creatures, or some of the really powerful Mars creatures, this is a great card to have to get rid of super powerful creatures on the board that you don't want to have to face. This is a card advantage card right here, which I like. This is, you play it, you get an Amber, and you make your opponent discard a card. I always like card advantage cards. Keyhammer. This is another great card. If your opponent did manage to forge a key, you weren't able to stop them with, say, bait and switch, or all the steel mechanics in here, you play Keyhammer, you set them back, and they have to go through the whole process again. You give yourself, at worst, one more round of the game to find something else to do. So after that, we have the Gunguzel. This is, you're going to gain an Amber when you play this, and then it's going to deal 3 to a creature. If that creature is not destroyed, the owner discards a random card. Another card advantage one, if you play it on something that doesn't get destroyed. If you do play it on something that gets destroyed, you still gain an amber, and that's fantastic. If you want the card advantage part, you pick something that's big on the board. Good card, interesting card. Gateway-to Disc, fantastic board clear. This is a great card to see in this deck. Board clear, this is probably the best board clear in the game, or close to it. There are no conditions for playing this card. You just play it, you wipe everything, and then you play your board out, and your opponent then has to deal with whatever board you've thrown down. Great card to see. That really makes 3 board clears in this, which is really nice. Creeping Oblivion. This is a nice card. You gain 1 amber, and then you purge up to 2 cards from a discard pile. So if you've gotten something off the board with, say, for example, Gateway-to Disc, and there's some creatures in there that you never want to see come back on the board, you play Creeping Oblivion, you get it out of their grave, you get it out of their discard pile, and there's no way for them to bring it back. Fantastic card. Really like seeing it in here. And yet, this card, Arise, it just makes this deck just so much worse, so much more dangerous. You can bring back your entire Shadows board using this thing. You could bring back your entire Sanctum board, including the Vault Keeper with this thing. You could bring back your disc board, although that's probably the one you're going to be the least interested in bringing back. But overall, just a really, really, really good card for this deck. I really like seeing that. I mean, I'm so glad to see this card in here. So that's this deck. I actually think that this deck is incredibly powerful. It is one of the most powerful decks that I think I've opened. It is going to be an incredibly hard deck to deal with, and I am really excited to get to play a game with this one. So there you guys go, and have a great day.